Hi, this is Jack Lifton, and today I'm very pleased to be speaking with Stephen Burega, the president of Appia, Rare Earths, and Uranium. And today we're going to talk about the Brazilian deposit that the company has, which is a heavy rare earth deposit. Good morning, Stephen.
Morning, Jack. How you doing today?
I'm fine. Can you tell us what Appia is doing in Brazil with regard to heavy rare earth?
Thanks, Jack. So we have an asset that's called the PCH project. It's a project that's 40,000 hectares in size. It's in the state of Goiás, Brazil, outside of a mining town called Ipora. Recently, we just announced our initial desorption test results. We're very pleased with this first round of testing. It basically provided confirmation of the ionic characteristics of the Ipora granite, the weathered material of the Ipora granite, and it also showed that it's desorbable, and that these numbers that are coming out of these initial test work are quite attractive, some of the best that's been seen. So we're very excited by these initial results. This on the heels of, in March 1st, we announced a mineral resource estimate on two target areas. One's called Target 4, and the second one was the Buriti zone. But across those two areas, which only cover approximately 480 hectares, the mineral resource estimate showed that there's approximately 52 million tons of material, and across the indicated and inferred categories, an average grade of some 2,700 ppm of TREO. So with that information in hand, we were very anxious and looking forward to getting some desorption tests under our belts. We did 100 samples. It's a first stage, first pass. We have a lot of work to continue doing. We need to tweak the processes now to make sure that we're achieving the highest desorption rate as possible. And we also have learned quite a bit of information with regards to the lithology, the regolith areas that are higher in desorption levels as opposed to perhaps the higher levels which are less desorbable.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Now let me translate that for our viewers. Okay.
Perfect.
Number one, this is, in my opinion, the most important discovery of heavy earths in the Western world ever. Okay, because you do in fact have an ionic clay, and it's not just me saying that. My learned colleagues in Southeast Asia, who are very skeptical, have now agreed with me after reading your press release that this is a true ionic clay. Gentleman geologist that I am, I'm going to say that your clay is younger than the Chinese clays. Why? Because it's higher grade than theirs. And people don't understand these materials can be washed with seawater, and the rare earths go into solution, so that over time the actual concentration gets less and less as it rains and the rainwater moves these things. Yours is high, very high grade. In my opinion, my reality, it's the highest grade ionic clay I've ever seen in my life, and I'm sort of Mr. Heavy Rare Earths in this part of the world, and so I'm very impressed. And I think the public has to understand that this is the key material for high performance magnets, rare earth permanent magnets, which have high coercivity. What's that? Well, high coercivity means that they maintain their strength at high temperatures, and when the temperature cools, they're still magnets. This is not the case with iron magnets and other kinds of magnets. So in order to do that, though, you need not just the core material, neodymium and praseodymium, of rare earth permanent magnets of the type that are going to be used in cars. You need dysprosium and terbium. And in my opinion, your deposit in Brazil is the highest grade of dysprosium and terbium and ionic clay I've ever seen in my 84 years. Okay, and in fact, the most easily recoverable, and I will say without shame, that's most likely the largest deposit of dysprosium and terbium in the world. So, congratulations, you're on the right track, and I think you have to stop talking about desorption as explain those things to the public. This stuff is easy to process because you can use a simple chemical called ammonium sulfate, gives you great results. And our Chinese friends are even using magnesium sulfate to give a little better agricultural results. Anyway, these are well-known technologies, and the processing of this material is very well known. And I I'm hoping to live long enough to see stuff coming out of your mine. It is genuinely a mine. Now, I'm getting a little too enthusiastic here because I'm supposed to be letting you talk. So I'm going to shut up now, and you can talk.
Well, I appreciate all that that background information, and I agree with everything you've just said. I do believe that we are sitting on an extraordinary project. These granites, these weathered granites, the Ipora granite, as you talked about, is as you produce these clays. It is the processing is very well known. It is straightforward and fairly straightforward, and we will be moving towards better understanding of the rest of the project next. So let's recap here. Target 4 and Buriti zone are 480 hectares on a 40,000 hectare property, of which over 70% is overlain by this Ipora granite. So we have every indication and expectation that we'll be able to identify new target areas on top of where we have the target 4 and Buriti zones. We believe that there will be, especially that specific mineralization identified at target 4, all towards the east and then to the north as we further our auger drilling program, which has been ongoing for quite some time now.
Can you give us an idea of the timetable of developing this deposit?
Well, I think the next phase of specifically for target 4 will be infill drilling and moving towards a PEA and a PFS. That time frame is being determined as we speak. So currently, we're looking at what the next steps look like. Infill drilling from 100 meters down to 50 meters. Remember, this target area is the top 15 to 20 meters from surface. There are some deeper areas where we get down to 30 meters potentially of material. So infill drilling, bringing a couple of rigs forward to complete that is a very short period of time. You need 2 months. We're not looking at years here. We're talking about months to get the data, get it compilated, and then start preparing plans for a PEA, and then moving from that point on to a PFS. And then ongoing, in parallel, of course, as I mentioned, we have auger drill turning across the rest of the property. So identification of additional targets, and then inclusion of extension zones to target 4 is also something that needs to be taken into consideration.
One more question. Yes. What do the local folks think about what you're doing? Are they hostile? Are they interested?
Great question, Jack, and we're very fortunate. We have an exceptional relationship with the local communities. So we're just about 25 kilometers outside of a mining town called Ipora. We're not the only ones in the area. Let's remember, Teck Kaminko is there, Yamana Gold is there, Dundee Precious Metals is there. There's 2 operating nickel mines about 35 kilometers away from us. It's a great mining neighborhood with all the infrastructure in place that you would need. It's a flat-ish terrain. This is grazing country. This is where cattle has been raised for generations. And the local farming and cattle raising population on our property, those local families, all of their kids long left for the big city for IT jobs. So it's aging couples who have huge swaths of land who don't have plans for agriculture or cattle grazing any longer. So they are very happy that we're there. They see this as a real opportunity to see value creation for their families. And then you move that as you move up the scale within the government structure, you've got municipality fully supportive, ready to get behind us 100%. Up to state, you're looking at Goiás, it's the capital. They want to be seen as a mining state, and then the federal politics of Brazil and the federal policy of Brazil is very supportive of critical mineral development. So I recently heard that the mining sector has outstripped the agricultural sector in Brazil quite significantly over the last few years and is continuing to grow. So mining is one of the most important aspects of GDP for
Brazil.
Brazil. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Well, okay, thank you, thank you. Listen, we need to have regular updates as you move along the path to actually supplying material to industry. Okay, so we're gonna be talking to you on a regular basis, and we need to hear about progress.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for your time today, Jack, and for the great description of our project. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Stephen, for saving American industry.